Welcome to everybody. I'm sorry that we had to change the program, so we came a little bit later than anticipated, but we had a problem getting out of Copenhagen Airport. I will do my talking English, but you are most welcome to come with questions in Swedish, in Danish. I think for the understanding of everybody, I will do the talking English. My name is, as said, Ole Tastrup. I'm the CEO of 2cureX. And with me, I have our Chief Business Officer, Martin van der Linden, and we'll be here after the meeting. So if you have questions, please come to our table outside. There are Danish candy on the table as well. But first, what is 2cureX all about? In brief, the company was actually established in 2006. We spun it out of Carlsberg Research Center. And we were listed last year in November, 24th of November, 17. Our proprietary technology we call IndiTreat. I will walk you through what that is. But it has been developed in the clinic, where we have been through more than 900 patients in developing the technology and testing it. What it can do is that it can offer the physician to select the right treatment for the individual patient. We are in a final clinical validation at the moment, being run in Denmark, in Germany, and the UK. We have a strong financial position on top of the IPO in November, where we had 350% oversubscription. We got an EU grant of 3 million euros this year. Actually, the only Danish company that got it in this round. We are present at cancer hospitals. From day one, we decided we wanted to be where our customers, the patients are, the surgeons, the oncologists. And we are at University Hospital in Copenhagen and in Bispebjerg. We are at a university hospital called University Hospital Eppendorf Hamburg in Hamburg. And then we are at Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Birmingham, the UK. When I say individualized treatment, that we want to present the right treatment to the individual patient, a lot of people are saying that. You've probably heard it numerous times. I just want to present sort of what the difference is. If you want to treat a patient with a drug that fits that specific patient, you can do it in a number of ways. One is that you can make new drugs, as it's presented here. Making new drugs, we have a number of very interesting companies, both listed here in Sweden and in Denmark. The issue with new drugs is that it's high risk, but also the opportunity of high gain. And obviously, the exit for an investor would be a buyout, because these companies will never run the drug all the way to the market. So it's a buyout from a pharmaceutical company. Then there are genetic tests. These tests have been around for a number of years. They are interested in diagnosing the disease. When we know that the patient have the disease, it's not that useful. It is being used for companion diagnostic. We're going to that. And then we have, obviously, what we think the most interesting one is the IndiTreat, where we matchmake between drugs, existing drugs that are on the market being used today, and patient. Here we have a lower risk, and we would say an attractive risk-reward profile, because we will be on the market in 2020, and we are treating patients today. I want to make a little comparison, because you may all know that if you have an infectious disease, then you probably know called the antimicrobial test. This has been around for almost 80 years. So you take a small sample from your mouth and you spread it out on an agar plate and you put drugs in. You see those sort of 5 white spots. That's different antibiotics. The one that works, that's the lower one, that's what you give the patient. 2cureX want to do for cancer what antimicrobial testing have done for infectious disease. And let me just remind you that infectious diseases before this test and penicillium, that killed 60% of us. That was the biggest killer. That has been changed because of this. And if you see the curve, the mortality of infectious diseases dropped dramatically. We are down below 10%. There's a bit of resistance we are fighting, but nevertheless, heart diseases, cardiovascular diseases went up. We are actually doing much better now. That's dropping, and if we see the curve today, it's actually crossed cancer. But unfortunately, cancer is just going up. That's what we want to do something about. And how are we doing to do it? And here comes what IndiTreat is all about. We have a patient out to the right, where we take a small sample of the patient's tumor. It could be the primary tumor, or it could be metastasis. From that, we make thousands of small microtumors, 3D, small tumors that will grow outside the patient, but it will grow exactly as it does in the patient. And I'll show you there are loads of data showing that it is pretty much the same. Then we will challenge these with hundreds of different treatments. Treatments that are used today, combinations that may not be used, and treatments that are not used for that disease. It could be other types of cancers. We will also look at novel drugs here. And then the very simple test principle is that you see the upper lane is where the tumor just grows. And that it grows exactly as it does in the patient. And the lower trace, there we have treated with a treatment that is effective in that patient. And we give it to the patient. And we have a small movie explaining that.
Cancer is often thought of as one disease affecting different parts of the body. But in reality, there are actually more than 100 different types of cancers, and there are more than 400 different drugs and drug combinations available. This makes the task of choosing the right cancer treatment very challenging, and that challenge is reflected in the response rate among patients being treated, which today is around 30%. Often, the oncologist only has one shot at choosing the right treatment, and it usually takes months before they can see any results. This is where IndiTreat can assist. IndiTreat is a method that focuses on finding the perfect treatment for every individual patient. A small sample is taken from the patient tumor. IndiTreat then expands this sample to hundreds of microtumors and tests all available treatments individually. In a matter of days, IndiTreat identifies the effective treatments from the ineffective ones. This is done by measuring the growth of the individual microtumors. An effective treatment will kill the tumor cells, which causes the microtumor to shrink. IndiTreat then presents detailed data on every treatment tested. This helps the oncologist to choose an effective treatment for every individual patient. IndiTreat will increase the number of cancer patients responding to treatment. To Curex, because cancer patients are individuals.
Just to conclude on that movie, I'll see what we have shown is that there are very effective drugs already on the market. It's very important to understand that we treat patients daily. We save patients' lives every day with the drugs we have. And the difficulty is matching the patient with the right treatment. And that brings our response rate down so that only 30% respond to the treatment. That could be devastating with a disease like cancer because we could lose the patient unless we pick the right treatment up front. This low response rate is obviously a great problem for the patient, but it's also for the caregivers, the doctors, the nurses, whatever, and society. This is where IndiTreat comes in. We say that we match make between drug and patient. And let me show you how this looks. This is a microtumor, and you'll see it's highly heterogeneous. There's a number of different cell types in here, and we encapture that in our 3D system. There's a number of papers that show that it really resembles the tumor in the patient. And I think it's here important to state that this is being recognized around the world at the moment. There are papers coming out in some of the major journals. The top one is from Science, where they say that this type really models the treatment that you need to give. So what IndiTreat does and what 2cureX have done is that we have know-how and we have patent protection now very broadly, Europe, UK, and also in Asia, where we have made this 3D microtumors clinically applicable. So the more research, the better for us, because we have secured the path out to the patient. And how does it look? This panel of all the different colors, that is patient going down and standard treatments across. Green is good, red is bad. Red is resistance. So, and I've just blown up out here in the corner, you will see what you should get of this is that they do respond very different. There are not one simple treatment that works in all. And what we have shown that we can, in 58% of the cases, find a treatment to which the patient is highly sensitive. And this should be compared to the 30% that I showed you before. We have been asked, why do you not have more than 58? Well, that is somewhat dependent upon the drugs we have available, but I will show you that we can probably go beyond. But these data have made it possible for us to start this clinical trial that I mentioned in the beginning, where major hospitals in Denmark, Germany, and the UK go in and run the test now. And it is an investigator-initiated trial. That means that these doctors have put their hand on the hot plate. So they are pushing it forward. And who are doing it? These are the hospitals, 4 hospitals, Bispebjerg Hospital and Rigshospitalet in Copenhagen, University Clinic, Hamburg-Eppendorf in Hamburg, Vejle Hospital, also in Denmark, and then Queen Elizabeth in Birmingham. And we have our clinical advisory board out there to the right. But let me show how it works. A patient comes in. This patient have stage 4 cancer. That is the latest stage. The tumor from colon have spread to the liver. In 95% of the cases, it goes to the liver, few cases to the lung, but here the patient was going to the liver. The lower image is a CT scan. Every patient are CT scanned, a few PET scanned. The dark spots is bad. The dark spots, you will see the liver, that's the bright area, and then those dark spots, that's metastasis. This patient is in a very serious position. We've taken out samples, and then you will see we have tested all standard treatments. These are the standard treatments provided to patients. Unfortunately, it's all red. There's one that is orange, might be some effect. But here, there's nothing on the shelf that can help this patient. What we do in the clinical trial is that we expand the panel. So now we add drugs that are registered on the market. They are approved, but for other cancers, and not in this type of disease state. And luckily, we found a combination called TAS-102 that the patient was sensitive to. To my knowledge, that's not used at all in colorectal cancer, and the patient is being treated now. We will come out later how it's gone with the patient. We hope it'll go well. So that's the basic principle for the trial. We will take patients that are insensitive to standard treatment and offer them completely new types of drugs not used in that disease or new combinations, and find something that works in the patient. Let me tell you a little bit about sort of our positioning. We expect to launch the IndiTreat colorectal cancer in 2020. And the problem you have seen, only 30% respond. Put it differently, 70% do not respond. That's a problem. And obviously, hopefully now you understood that IndiTreat is the solution. It's the matchmaker between patient and drug. What about the market? It's huge. one may say, unfortunately, colorectal cancer is a huge cancer all over the world, especially in Europe and in Asia, actually. And if we just look at the patient category that we are talking about, then there are 260,000 patients that receive treatment every year in Europe. That will, for our test, with the cost that we have put on it now, provide about 8 billion Swedish as a business opportunity. Competition. What's very important for our technology is that we have not protected this about making 3D, but we have made 3D clinically available. And there it's a very strong patent portfolio. Further, we are actually treating patients now, and we have a very strong clinical support. I showed that before. And that support we have because from, as I said before, from day one we have been in hospitals, and we are now in major hospitals throughout Europe, and we will come out with something later with hospitals closer to your home. With regard to our board and management, for myself, I can say that I have previously spun out a company from Novo Nordisk that I ran for a number of years, and it was sold to Thermo Fisher, and we do the same trick with the spin out from Carlsberg. And then you have seen Martin, and Grit Hagel is head of our operations. She's actually an inventor of a number of technologies. Then we have a subsidiary in Hamburg run by Jürgen Kupper, and we are in the process of CE registration of the technology. And here we have the board. Some of you may know Jörn Dreyer being the CEO of Saniona. The rest of the board have a very strong knowledge within investments and also within life science. The last that I would mention is about our cash position. I mean, we all want more cash, but in essence, 2cureX, because we raised what we were looking for in November, and on top of that, we almost got twice as much from the EU. So we can certainly run this clinical trial, and we can also expand it, and there will be funds for doing the market launch. What have we done since the listing? First of all, as I mentioned before, we listed. We got 1.8 million euros from 1,700 shareholders. We have expanded the management with Martin that I just presented to you. We launched this trial that I have presented, and we're now through 12 patients, and we expect that we will finalize it this year, and it's running according to plan. And here was the 3 million from EU. And of those 3 million, we have already got 1.5 in the bank. And what will you see in the future? Well, you will see more communication. And here I have to admit that this is an area where we need to improve. We have been so busy of getting listed with all the reporting and everything here over the last few months, and that probably sacrificed a little bit on communication. That will change, and we have already beefed that up, and you will see more to us in the future. We will see Mark as an IVD, the IndiTreat, and we will also ISO register our lab facility. Then we will expand into additional oncology centers, and that is moving very well. And that will be both in Germany and UK and here in Sweden. We will finalize this clinical trial in colorectal cancer. The full study will be finalized next year, with us being ready for launch of the project, of the product in 2020. And with that, I thank you for your patience.
Välkommen. Det var en mycket intressant presentation. Jag fascineras lite grann i början när du drar en parallell med bakterier. Att vad har vi gjort där? Jo, där tar man ett prov från patienten, odlar det på ett litet glas med en näringslösning och sen ser man hur ser det ut efteråt, hur luktar, vilka färger, vilken utbredning har och sen vet läkaren det här är behandlingen man ska sätta in. Och du gör egentligen samma sak fast på något sätt ingen har tänkt på det tidigare, eller är det så?
I princippet är det meget simpelt. Det har du ret i. Der er nogle aspekter, som for eksempel det at lave det som 3D. Det har krævet lidt mere. Men det er i princippet det samme. Vi ser med mikrobiel testning. Vi ser på bakterierne vokser. Kan vi slå dem ihjel? Så vælger vi den behandling. Vi gør det samme. Vi ser om tumor vokser. Kan vi slå den ihjel? Så er det den behandling vi vælger. Så ja.
Men den odling man gör när det gäller bakterier, den sker på ett speciellt glas.
Ja.
Men här får du fram flera tusen små tumörer som du var och en av dem testas på olika mediciner, olika läkemedel.
Ja.
Och så finner du ut att det och det läkemedlet kommer att slå igen, döda cancern.
Ja.
Det är hela idén.
Det är rätt. Og vi har et robotsystem, som vil putte alle lægemidlerne som enkeltlægemidler eller kombination af lægemidler, og så scanner vi hele det der område.
Hur många olika läkemedel testar du?
I dette faldet der har vi 20 lægemidler, men når du kombinerar så får du hundradvis av kombinationer.
Ska se om det finns några frågor från publiken. Ja, där har vi en. Varsågod.
Hur snabb är den här processen? Hur lång tid tar det för er att få fram provsvaret? Frågan ställs därför att min undran är om patienterna kommer att preliminärt ställas på någon standardbehandling före ert provsvar eller ert svar så snabbt att de kan få rätt behandling från början.
Jag ska upprepa frågan så att de som sitter och tittar via datorn så småningom också kommer att uppfatta frågan. Huvudsak sa du hur snabb är behandlingen? Är det till och med så att man måste sätta in en standardbehandling i väntan på att provsvaren kommer?
Ja, den är faktiskt så snabb att det kan vara första behandling. Det tar godt en vecka. Det du har sett här, det tar, och det kan du inte göra hurtigare. Några av dessa läkemedel, det är flera dagar på att virka, så vi är nødt till att simulera det. Så upp till 2 veckor för hela testen, från vi tar proben i patienten till det är ett resultat. Det vill inte vara ett problem för behandlingen. Så det är tidsrum. När jag sammenligner med antimikrobiell testning, der har vi været vant til, at det tager tid. Det tager typisk 3, 4, 5 dagar før du får et respons. Så det är inte så forskelligt.
Ja, fler frågor. Varsågod där. Finns det konkurrenter som kanske tänker på ett annorlunda sätt från olika håll eller är ni ensamma om idén?
Jag vill säga att de flesta så kallade konkurrenter är i universitetssystemet. Och det visar att det här virker, det passar med det der sker i patienten. Vores patenter ligger fra de opdagelser til klinikken. Der er vi ikke bekendt med patenter. Som jeg nævnte det i starten, vi startede firmaet i 2006, og vores patenter blev udstedt ikke så mange år efter, så vi har haft brede udstedte patenter meget tidligt. Så og jo mere der kommer fra universiteterne, der kommer også noget herop fra Karolinska som ser meget spændende ud, jo bedre for os.
Er teknik måste vara väldigt accepterad eftersom ni får en hel del pengar från EU. Det är väl en kvalitetsstämpel?
Ja, det er det. Og vi jo som danskere er vi jo kede af, at der ikke kom flere til Danmark. Vi var sådan set den eneste SME, der fik i 2017 i Danmark.
Du tar om trial här förut. Det innebär att tekniken är inte riktigt färdigutvecklad för klinisk användning, eller?
Jo, det er vores.
Det er den.
Den er færdigudviklet. Det er derfor, vi CE-mærker den nu. Og det er den. Det, der er selve teknologien, er færdigudviklet. Det, vi laver nu, det er at vise, at patienterne er i en bedre situation, efter de er blevet testet.
Skulle man till och med kunna säga att den här tekniken är i stort sett överlägsen alla andra hittills upptäckta cancerbehandlingar?
Den ska jag lige ha igen.
Är det så att den teknik som du har tagit fram i ditt bolag är så avancerad att den är överlägsen, är bättre än i stort sett alla andra typer av cancerbehandlingar?
Vi är jo afhængige af de lægemidler, der eksisterer. Du kan sige, vi udnytter alle de lægemidler, der er, og derved bliver det en væsentlig bedre behandling, end der er derude. Men vi laver ikke nye lægemidler selv. Vi bruger det, der er. Det kan være helt nye. Vi har nogen, der er meget interesserede i at komme med deres helt nye lægemidler. Men nogle af lægemidlerne, de blev introduceret til behandling i 1964. Det er stadig nogle af de meget vigtige lægemidler i cancerbehandling.
Jag har en fråga där borta. Hur pass kostsam är den här processen?
Selve det at få lavet testen, der arbejder vi stadigvæk med, hvad priset skal være. Men vi taler nok omkring en 3.000 euro. Det er i forhold til behandlingskostnaden, så er det...
Ja, vi hinner med en snabb fråga där borta. Vad är för försäljningsintäkt under närmaste 10-årsperioden?
Jag ska lige have det med vores...
Hur mycket kan du räkna med att sälja för? Hur stora intäkter kan ni räkna med ett antal år framåt?
Altså, det er jo sådan, at det er meget stort tal, fordi der er 260.000 patienter om året, som bør få lavet en IndiTreat. Selvfølgelig vil de ikke alle, men jeg kan sige, at for at få break-even, altså at vi får svarta numre, der skal vi have omkring 3 promille af markedet. Og vi regner inden det første år at få 3% af markedet. Så det vil være temmelig stort tal.
Jag tror vi måste bryta så, för vi har passerat vår tid. Tack så mycket, Ore Thastrup. Tack, varmt. Tack.